No room, huh?
A little different when you're going up against a Henry Ford Community College honorable mention all-conference guard.
Huh? Really? Oh!
In Oklahoma, there's a boy named Brian who spends every day dreaming of one thing: playing basketball for his school's team, the Eagles. The problem? He's short, uncoordinated, and no matter how hard he tries, the ball never seems to listen to him. For now, his only role is team assistant, running errands, handing out towels, watching from the sidelines as others live the dream he can only imagine. After another long game, Brian bikes home, still thinking about basketball. In his room, the TV glows softly as he replays highlights of his idol, Kevin Durant, moving with the kind of grace Brian can only dream of. Inspired, he grabs his worn-out ball and practices shot after shot, missing almost every single one. His younger sister, Ashley, laughs as she secretly records him, teasing him later by showing the videos of his awkward moves. At school the next day, Brian's life feels like one long cycle of humiliation. Until he meets Isabel, the new girl in town. For a moment, time stops. She smiles at him, and his heart does something weird, like a buzzer going off. During lunch, his best friend Mitch nudges him, whispering that Isabel's new, fresh, from another city. Brian decides to go talk to her, but before he can even stand, the team captain Connor hijacks the cafeteria projector. Suddenly, the screen flashes. It's a video of Brian bouncing on a trampoline, trying to dunk, and ending up hanging upside down from the rim like a trapped bat. The room erupts in laughter. Even Isabel can't help smiling awkwardly. Humiliated, Brian sits down, cheeks burning. That night, he's sulking in his room when his dad, Joe, walks in. "Hey, champ," he says gently. "Thunder's playing tonight. How about a father-son trip to the game?" Brian can't resist. His favorite team, and Kevin Durant, live. The next evening, they arrive at the packed arena, the sound of sneakers squeaking and fans roaring filling the air. Oklahoma City Thunder is dominating the Detroit Pistons, leading 61-37 by halftime, with Durant doing what he does best, making the impossible look easy. As the players leave the court, an announcer's voice booms through the speakers. "Who wants to win $20,000? One lucky fan will get a half-court shot." Brian freezes as the spotlight lands on him. He's the one picked. Escorted onto the court, his hands tremble as he takes the ball. From the stands, his dad cheers. But Connor, sitting nearby, shouts insults loud enough for everyone to hear. Nervous, Brian takes a deep breath, throws, and the ball sails wide, bouncing off the mascot's head before rolling away. The crowd bursts into laughter. Brian's heart sinks. Until Kevin Durant himself walks over. With a calm smile, he signs the ball and hands it to the trembling kid. "Keep practicing," he says warmly. "When talent isn't on your side, hard work is." Brian clutches the ball, still speechless. But in that instant, something strange happens. A spark, like a tiny jolt of electricity, flashes between their hands. Both Kevin and Brian notice it, but neither says a word. The next morning, Brian wakes up to a surprising headline on the radio. Thunder lose in shocking comeback after Durant misses every shot in the second half. Kevin Durant, missing? It doesn't even sound real. But while Kevin's world starts spiraling, Brian's is about to flip upside down. As he gets dressed, Brian casually tosses his dirty clothes toward the hamper and nails the shot perfectly. Nothing but net. He blinks. Coincidence, maybe? At school, weird things keep happening. During science class, while Mitch tells him that Connor leaked the half-court fail video online, again, Brian starts fidgeting with a plastic liver from the anatomy model. Absent-mindedly, he begins spinning it on his finger like a basketball, perfectly balanced, spinning faster and faster. Mitch stares, eyes wide. That night, Brian tests himself. He heads to the park, dribbling under the flickering lights with Ashley filming. Every shot he takes swishes. Perfect aim. No trampoline needed. And who happens to show up? Isabel, with Connor right behind her. They're at a small fairground where a hoop game promises prizes for perfect shots. Connor, puffing up his chest, throws a few and misses all of them. He grumbles, frustrated. "Think you can do better, Brian," Connor taunts. Brian hesitates, but everyone's watching. He grabs the ball, takes one smooth shot, swish, then another and another. Every single one drops. Isabel claps, impressed. Connor's jaw tightens. Brian wins a giant stuffed panda and, shyly, hands it to Isabel. "For you." She smiles. And in that moment, for the first time, Brian feels like someone else entirely. But miles away, Kevin Durant is living the opposite reality. In practice, every shot he takes clangs off the rim. His coach and manager Allen watch in disbelief. Kevin shrugs it off, blaming fatigue. But deep down, something feels wrong. His rhythm, his control, his gift, it's gone. Meanwhile, Brian can't stop winning. His confidence skyrockets. The next morning, he storms into the gym and asks Coach Amros to give him a chance on the real team. Connor laughs from the sidelines. "Stick to wiping sweat, kid." But Brian insists. "One game, me and you." The gym falls silent as the two square off. Connor dribbles hard, tries to fake, but Brian moves like lightning, steals the ball, jumps, and sinks a clean shot from mid-range. Coach Amros raises an eyebrow. Connor tries again, but Brian blocks him with impossible reflexes. The coach himself steps in to test him, and Brian glides past him like a pro, spinning, pivoting, scoring again. The silence turns to stunned applause. "You're in," the coach finally says. The next day, Brian suits up for his first real game as an Eagle. The gym is packed, his family, Isabel, and Mitch all watching. The whistle blows. The first possession goes smoothly. Brian passes to a teammate who scores. Then Connor tries to show off, dribbling selfishly until he loses the ball. The other team ties the game and the coach yells, "Connor!" Pass to Brian. Reluctantly, Connor obeys. The next play, Brian catches, jumps, and lands the game-winning shot at the buzzer. The crowd goes wild. Overnight, Brian becomes a school hero. Students chant his name. Even teachers treat him differently. To celebrate, he and Mitch hit the go-kart track, where Isabel's already racing. She smirks. "Loser buys dinner." Brian grins, floors the pedal, and immediately crashes into a wall. Isabel bursts out laughing. It's messy, embarrassing, and somehow perfect. While Brian's star rises, Kevin's career nosedives. He can't score, can't focus, even commercial shoots go wrong. He trips, misses, fumbles every take. Sports networks start asking if the once unstoppable Durant has lost his edge for good. One night, Kevin's manager Allen sits in front of the TV and sees a highlight reel. A kid from Oklahoma, playing exactly like Kevin Durant. Every move, every fadeaway, every spin, it's Brian. Allen's eyes narrow. No way. The next day, he visits Kevin. "You're going to think I'm crazy," he begins, "but I think that kid, Brian, somehow took your talent." Kevin bursts out laughing. "Come on, man." "That's impossible." But Allen won't let it go. "Ever since you gave him that signed ball, your stats crashed. And his exploded. I checked his numbers. He's playing like you." Kevin shakes his head, but part of him can't shake the feeling. Alan decides to prove it. He tracks Brian down and shows up at the diner where the kid's hanging out with Isabel. Smiling politely, he introduces himself. "Hi, I'm Alan, Kevin Durant's agent. We'd love to visit your school charity event." Brian almost faints. Kevin Durant? At my school? A week later, the impossible happens. Kevin Durant walks through the school doors. The gym falls silent. Brian can barely breathe. Alan gestures for them to shake hands, watching closely. But nothing strange happens this time. Still, Alan insists they spend the day together. Brian gives Kevin a tour, shy but thrilled. Kevin's polite, though distracted, constantly checking his phone, muttering about needing to train. Alan promises they'll wrap up soon and announces a surprise. Every player on the Eagles gets brand new Kevin Durant sneakers. The students cheer, posing for pictures. Alan hands both Kevin and Brian a ball and asks them to hold it together for a photo, hoping it'll trigger the same spark as before. Nothing. No flash, no electricity. Frustrated, Kevin finally snaps. "This is ridiculous," he mutters, storming out of the gym. "You can't steal talent." But deep down, he's starting to wonder. That night, Brian plays another game. And this time, something's off. Instead of teamwork, he plays for the crowd. He ignores open teammates, dribbles solo, showing off his new skills. When Connor calls for a pass, Brian waves him off and scores himself. "Bench him," Connor shouts. "Sit down," the coach replies. Brian wins again, but the cheers sound emptier. After the game, he parties with the popular kids, bragging about his wins, barely noticing Isabel slip away, disappointed. When he finally chases her, his new friends pull him back. Then a voice cuts through the chaos. "Brian!" Everyone freezes. Standing by the pool, glaring like an angry parent, is Alan. He pulls Brian aside. "You need to give Kevin's talent back. Now." Brian laughs awkwardly, but Alan's serious. "Before you met him, you weren't even on the team. Now you're averaging 48 points per game. Exactly what Kevin did at your age. You took what took him a lifetime to build." Brian's smile fades. Before leaving, Alan gives him one final warning. Success means nothing if it isn't truly yours. The next morning, the school gym is buzzing with excitement. Banners hang from the ceiling, cameras flash, and the principal beams as Coach Amross steps up to the microphone. "For the first time in 30 years, he announces proudly, the Eagles are heading to the state finals." The crowd roars. One by one, he calls out the players. When he reaches Brian's name, everyone chants, "MVP, MVP." But Brian isn't there. He's across the hall, following Isabel toward the library. She's startled when he appears. "What are you doing here?" "You're supposed to be on stage." "I had to see you," he says quietly. "I'm sorry." "For everything." Isabel crosses her arms. "You've changed, Brian. Basketball used to make you happy. Now it's all about attention and ego. You're not the same guy I met." Brian swallows hard. "If it wasn't for basketball, you never would have noticed me." Her eyes soften for a moment before she whispers, "You're wrong. I liked you from the first day, before you ever made a shot." Then she walks away, leaving him alone with the truth. For the first time since his meteoric rise began, Brian feels empty. The applause, the wins, none of it means anything if he's lost the people who matter. That night, he sits alone in the gym, lights dimmed, listening to the echo of bouncing balls in his mind. After a long silence, he pulls out his phone and calls Alan. "I'm ready," he says. "I want to give it back." Minutes later, Alan drives him to the Thunder's practice court. Kevin's there, missing every single shot. Sweat drips from his forehead, frustration in every breath. "All right," Alan says, clapping his hands. "Let's prove it. 1-on-1. Just you two." Kevin sighs but agrees. The game starts. And within seconds, Brian moves like lightning. Fadeaway jumper. Swish. Step back three. Swish again. Even Kevin stops, stunned. There's no denying it anymore. The kid has his talent. "All right," Alan mutters, pacing. "Let's recreate the exact moment from that night. Hold the ball together, say the same lines." Kevin nods reluctantly. They grip the signed ball, just like before. "I wish I could play like you," Brian says. "When talent's not on your side, work harder," Kevin replies. They wait, but nothing happens. No spark, no glow, nothing. Alan, ever the problem solver, refuses to quit. He tries rubbing the ball with a towel, builds static with balloons, even waves a magnet over it like some kind of witch doctor. Still, nothing. Finally, Kevin chuckles dryly. "Maybe it wasn't magic after all. Maybe you just earned it." But Brian shakes his head. "No, I know it isn't mine." They part ways, Kevin heading to the locker room, Brian walking home under the empty streetlights, feeling the weight of a gift that was never meant to be his. Later that night, Brian knocks on Isabel's door. She opens it, surprised, but not angry. "I owe you an explanation," he says softly. "Everything that's happened, my sudden talent, it wasn't me. I think I accidentally took Kevin Durant's abilities during that halftime contest." She stares, unsure if he's joking. "You what?" "I'm serious. I didn't mean to. It just happened. Look." He pulls out his phone and plays the video. The failed half-court shot, the ball bouncing into the mascot's head. "After that night, I changed completely." Isabel watches the clip, her eyes widening. "You're saying that's when it started?" "Yes, that's when everything started." Brian replays the moment, staring at the screen, and suddenly his face lights up. Wait, the mascot. That's it. Without another word, he grabs his bike and races off into the night. Isabel yells after him, but he's already gone. He pedals furiously through the empty streets until he reaches the Thunder Arena. Security is tight. The game's about to start. But he sneaks in through the back door, dodging guards until he reaches the tunnel. Down on the court, Kevin's warming up, still missing every shot. "Kevin," Brian shouts, breathless. "I know how to fix this." Kevin blinks in disbelief as the kid runs straight onto the court. Before anyone can stop him, Brian looks around and spots the mascot. "Sorry, man," he says, gripping the ball. He hurls it straight at the mascot's head. Thud. The poor guy stumbles, just like that night months ago. Kevin's jaw drops. "What are you doing?" "Trust me," Brian yells, grabbing the ball and holding it between them. This time they switch lines. Kevin looks at Brian. "I wish I had your talent." And Brian, smiling faintly, says, "When talent isn't on your side, you've got to work for it." A burst of light crackles through the air. The same spark that started it all. Both gasp as a current of energy flashes between their hands. Then, it's gone. Kevin blinks, feeling something he hasn't in months. Power, precision, flow. "Shoot," Brian says. Kevin dribbles, steps back, and launches the ball. Swish. The crowd explodes as if destiny itself just came full circle. Thunder wins that night. Kevin is back. And Brian, standing on the sidelines, feels both proud and strangely peaceful. His borrowed miracle has ended. The next morning, Brian's alarm buzzes. He gets up, grabs a ball, and tries a shot at the laundry basket. It bounces off the wall and lands on the floor. He laughs. At school, he finds Mitch and Isabel waiting by the lockers. Guess who's terrible at basketball again? He grins. Mitch claps him on the shoulder. Good. We missed that guy. Later, Isabel walks up quietly. I saw you at the Thunder game, she says. Now it makes sense. Brian nods. Yeah, guess I had to lose something to remember who I was. They share a smile. Simple, genuine. And for once, that's enough. Days later, the state finals arrive. The Eagles face their toughest opponent yet. The gym is packed. The pressure immense. Brian knows he's not the same prodigy anymore. But that doesn't mean he's giving up. Let's go, he tells the team. From the opening whistle, it's rough. Shots miss, passes fail, and by halftime, they're down 47-35. The crowd grows quiet. Coach Amros kneels beside Brian. You okay, kid? Brian nods. Just off my game, I guess. Maybe you should sub me out. The coach shakes his head. You're staying in. Not because of your talent, but because the team believes in you. Those words hit harder than any loss. When the second half begins, Brian looks up and spots Kevin and Alan sitting in the stands. Kevin gives him a nod. Brian gathers his teammates. Forget the scoreboard. Forget trying to play like stars. We win this together, or we don't win at all. The whistle blows. Something shifts. The team starts moving in sync. Connor passes. Mitch hustles. Brian defends like a wall, stealing the ball again and again. Every play feels earned, built through grit and trust. The score tightens, 58-60, then 60-62, 10 seconds left. The ball ends up in Brian's hands. Take the shot, Kevin shouts from the stands. Brian hesitates, dribbles once, twice, then jumps. The ball arcs through the air as the buzzer screams. Swish, the crowd explodes. The Eagles win. Teammates swarm him, lifting him off the ground. Brian laughs, really laughs, for the first time in a long while. He didn't need Kevin's gift to be great. He just needed heart. A few days later, Brian visits the Thunder's practice court. Kevin greets him with a grin. Didn't think I'd see you again, champ? Brian shrugs. I wanted to thank you. For everything. Kevin bounces the ball and tosses it to him. How about a little one-on-one? Brian smiles. This time, I've actually been practicing. They square off under the bright lights, two players, one born gifted, the other forged through failure, trading shots and laughter. Because in the end, greatness isn't about talent. It's about how you rise when it's gone.